Alright guys, Fula coming to you with another video. Shout outs to the whole LDBC. So in this video, man, I kind of want to talk about an interview in which Terrence Crawford had with a guy from dazn in regards to Terrence Crawford saying that, there's no such thing as the other side of the street when it comes to boxing. The best should fight the best. Those were his words in which he delivered during that interview. Now, while that might be fine and dandy, the reality is quite different, The way I look at it is he can go even ask his promoter Bob Arum if there's other sides of the street in boxing, and he'll tell you that indeed there are other sides of the street. I mean, he's shown himself to actually acknowledge that there's other sides of the street in boxing. Bob Arum has, So with Terrence Crawford's words, what this basically tells me is that with him is he basically doesn't have anybody to fight. That's why he's kind of like, when he says these things, one of my things that goes in my head is that, while the best should fight the best, which is absolutely true, the best should have other fights ready to entertain the fans and to, challenge themselves. But the reality is the simple fact that Errol Spence has nobody else to fight. Terrence Crawford has nobody else to fight. That's why he's saying the words he's saying. He wants, I'm just going to be real. If he fought Errol Spence, that's going to be as much money as he would ever make in a fight, thus far to this day. So that's another reason why he's trying to get that fight. My thing is this, with the whole, there's no other sides of, there's no streets in boxing. Your promoter thinks different, Your promoter doesn't think how you think, Because if he did, he wouldn't be trying to, systematically move fighters the way he moves them, because he has a desire for that fighter to either A, get a belt, or B, he's done with the fighter, so he's just going to basically put the fighter away, and has no need for that fighter anymore, And we've seen this in cases with Timothy Bradley. We've seen it with cases with Manny Pacquiao. And, I wouldn't be, we've also, just recently, he just recently got his belt, but Dogbo is another fighter who basically, he's done with. As soon as he got that dude to be like a total and utter mismatch, and not only did he stop him once, he didn't stop him the first time, but the second time he stopped him. And so that belt was, in his hands by that time. So, the thing is that, we have to look at patterns, and, it doesn't matter what Terrence Crawford says at this point, it really doesn't matter. He can, be sad with the puppy dog eyes and stuff like that, like desperate need of an Errol Spence fight. But at the end of the day, you know, people are gonna move how they're gonna move, and the way Earl Spence is moving is, I mean, there's unifications on his side of the street. And I think once he captures those belts, he'll get to Terrence Crawford. So all the things can be on the line, you know. But at the present time, like, I mean, I don't blame him, you know, for not pursuing a Terrence Crawford fight, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm going to be honest with you, completely honest with you. Sean Porter is a tougher opponent than any opponent that Terrence Crawford has faced. I'll be honest, you know. So with that being said, you know, I mean, you have to understand why he's taking that fight, you know. You have to understand that, like, a WBC belt, you know, if we're dealing with the politics of belts, you know, we have to, like, really come with the realization that a WBC belt is more, how should I say it, the word for it? What's a good word to use for the prestigious? Yeah, we gotta say that, like, a WBC belt is way more prestigious than a WBO belt, you know. So, you know, Terrence Crawford, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I mean, he can say that all he wants to say it, but his promoter doesn't even think that way, you know. Because if he did think that way, then he would have put like Terrence Crawford against some of the lower level PBC guys, but he has not done that, you know. So, you know, with that being said, you know, Terrence Crawford, I'm sorry to say, is in a rock and a hard place, you know. I mean, we can call him pound for pound number one all we want to. You know, we can say that he is pound for pound number one. But, I mean, at the end of the day, if he fights a dude like, if he fights an elite welterweight, then we can then say that, you know. But if he's not fighting an elite welterweight, then, you know, no disrespect to him, but I can't say that, you know. Me personally, I can't use those words, you know. So this is why I have to, this is my stance on it. And I'm just gonna say something else too about the whole other side of the street thing. We have to realize that, you know, usually with Bob Arum, most of the time, you know, I would say about a good 90% of the time, when Bob Arum does a fight, you know, that the dude who's on the other side of the street, what that dude has to do is he usually has to sign a deal with Bob Arum, and, you know, that deal is a multiple fight deal. He also has to let Bob Arum be his promoter. You know what I mean? That's what the one thing he has to let him do. You know, what he'll do is he'll bait that guy as much as he can. He'll bait him along and say, like, okay, well, I'm going to give you that unification shot. I'm going to give you that shot that you want with the champ. But before that shot, you're gonna have to fight. Such and such, such and such. You know, You're gonna have to have 3 fights before you get that shot. Then what Bob Arum will do is he'll say, well, you know what? Before you get the champ, I'm gonna need you to sign another deal for another 3 fights. You know, and you know the pattern repeats itself until the fighter is aged out and he no longer has what it takes to actually pose a threat against a champion, you know. So, you know, he can say those things he wants, you know. He can you know, talk about there's no side of the street, the best fight the best. He can say that, and that's true to a certain extent. But if your promoter doesn't think that way, then why are you even saying that? You know what I mean? Like, why are you just like at this time like doing what you and Bomac usually do, which is talk trash? I mean, like, that's why, like, I mean, I can respect his boxing ability and stuff like that. I can respect that, you know, without a doubt. I can respect the boxing ability and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, man, I don't like how he moves, and I don't like how Bomac moves, man. You know, I don't, like, they need to just, like, chill out and work on getting themselves fights instead of, like, worrying about what other niggas are doing who are actually making fights, who are actually fighting the fights that need to be fought. You know what I mean? And I really and seriously doubt that there's people ducking Terrence Crawford like that. You know, hell, I'm pretty sure Ugas would fight Terrence Crawford at this point, you know, because he beat him in the amateurs. I don't know how it would be in the pros, but, you know, we don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, Terrence Crawford, and I'm just going to keep it a buck, has not fought an elite welterweight because of the simple fact there is no elite welterweights at top rank, you know. And we can't say that Bob Arum is really open to cross promotion based on the fight last night, due to the simple fact that, you know, we wanted the Wilder Fury fight. You know, that's the fight we were calling for. That was the first fight we wanted. But what did Frank Warren and Mr. Bob turn around and do? They signed Tyson Fury and then put him on and said, nah, we're not going to fight Wilder right away. And tried to, and then tried to entice Wilder to sign a deal with Top Rank. So, you know, we got to look at patterns and whatnot. And at the end of the day, the pattern still remains the same with Bob Arum. You know, you'll be hard-pressed for a fight with a champion at Top Rank unless you're on Top Rank. And that's all I got to say about that. So Terrence Crawford can keep on talking, keep on yapping, and keep on saying there's no side of the streets and whatnot, and keep on having the sad little puppy dog eyes for Errol Spence fight. But Errol Spence will get to him when he gets to him. And in the meantime, as long as Errol Spence is fighting the best in his division or fighting the belt holders in his division, I'm cool with that, you know. And so that's all I gotta say. Fuller signing out. Enjoy, Rama.